The purpose of this video is just to give a few quick words on the late Gilbert Gottfried, who just passed away earlier today. For those of you who aren't familiar with Gilbert, he made his mark as a stand-up comedian back in the 1970s and 80s, and that led to his television and film work. He was a frequent guest on The Howard Stern Show, and he also created his own podcast, which was called Gilbert's Amazing Colossal Podcast. Whether you know him or not, I'm sure most of you have heard his voice. He was the original voice of the duck from the Aflac commercials, and he also performed the voice of Iago from Aladdin. One thing you'll notice that all these performances have in common is that they're all exactly the same. No matter what role he was given, he'd always maintain that exact same voice and persona, and that was part of his charm. Gilbert was a genius at being Gilbert. He never broke that character, and that's one of the things that made him so unique. He also never tried to appeal to the masses. If you notice, most people in show business always try to stay relevant so they could potentially gain a wider audience, but Gilbert didn't give a shit. Gilbert would do material on people who were famous during the 1920s. Literally, he would be on stage with an audience of teenagers, and he'd be doing impressions of Bela Lugosi and George Jessel. The fact that he'd do corny things like this without caring what people thought made him even funnier. He was an old soul. He also had a love for old movies, which is another reason I've always liked him. I too share that same love for old movies, therefore I've always appreciated the references he'd make. Another distinctive trait about Gilbert is that he had virtually no filter. To him, no subject was too sensitive or taboo to make fun of. He would not bow down to political correctness, nor did he bother walking on eggshells. If he thought something was funny to say, he would always say it. To use the analogy of a bad child, if you told him not to do something, he would do it anyway. And with that type of mentality, there are always risks involved. The risk of people being mad at you, and more importantly, the risk of losing jobs, especially showbiz-related jobs, and unfortunately that did become a factor in Gilbert's life. But no matter what, he always refused to censor himself. He remained true to his form, which I have a lot of respect for. A documentary about Gilbert was released in 2017, which gave us some insight into Gilbert's personal life as well as his career. He was definitely the type of person that tried to keep his personal life away from the public eye, so this was a rare treat for people who wanted to learn more about him. When I found out that he passed away, I was very upset. For the most part, when I hear about a celebrity passing away, it doesn't normally bother me or change my mood, but this is one in particular that I did not want to hear. It's not like I knew him in real life, but listening to him always put a smile on my face. I constantly listen to the old appearances he did on The Howard Stern Show, and they still make me laugh just as hard as they did when I first heard them. Sometimes I'll even listen to them when I'm in a bad mood and I need something to cheer me up. All those clips of him doing impersonations of Bela Lugosi's Dracula or his Andrew Dice Clay impersonation, I mean, come on, it's gold. And one of the things that upset me the most about him passing away, and I'll just be totally honest, is that I really wanted to meet him someday. I always thought that it'd be a possibility, and I just wanted to see what he was like in person, but unfortunately that opportunity will never come. So I decided to make this video to express my words of respect and condolences to the man himself, and I also hope that even after his death that people continue to discover his work and enjoy him the way that I and others have enjoyed him.